Welcome in, everybody. We officially made it to Friday. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of the Pack a Day podcast here on YouTube. I've got a few different things that I want to discuss today, including Billy Turner and the injury updates, but let's start right away by talking about those injury updates. Thursday's practice, Kenny Clark does practice. Davante Adams does not. Michael Thomas does not practice for the Saints. I made a comment on Twitter. I said basically at this point, Green Bay and New Orleans should just make a gentleman's agreement. New Orleans sits Michael Thomas. Green Bay sits Davante Adams. Seems to be a fair trade-off. Both of those guys can get healthy for future opponents. It's a bummer that you have these two high-powered offenses meeting up on Sunday Night Football and potentially not get to see both of these offenses with their biggest weapons. But I think it would make more sense probably with both of these injuries to keep them out at least a week longer. For Green Bay, you'll wonder if maybe Davante gets that bye week as well. So maybe he wouldn't play against New Orleans, Atlanta, and then would have that bye week to rest up. Certainly don't want to jump to any conclusions. He could still play this Sunday against New Orleans, but it could look, at least at this point, like Michael Thomas and Davante Adams may not be available for Sunday night. But let's talk about Kenny Clark for just a moment. I think it was Maggie Loney who actually tweeted out, Pack a Day Podcast's very own Maggie Loney, who tweeted out and basically said, this is a literal game changer for Packers Saints. I could not agree with her more. He is the fulcrum that the rest of that defense rests upon. His ability to eat space in the middle of the defense is amazing, but it's not just that ability. It's his ability to penetrate in the backfield, both in the run game and in the passing game. I'm going to talk either on Saturday or Sunday about Alvin Kamara. I believe he legitimately is the key to success for both of these teams on Sunday. And if you need to stop Alvin Kamara, you are absolutely going to want Kenny Clark in the middle of that defense, at least from a run stopping standpoint. I don't think Kenny Clark's probably going to spread out wide and cover him on too many passing routes, but maybe we can get a BJ Raji dropping into coverage pick six type play. I think Kenny Clark's due for something like that, but either way, Kenny Clark potentially being able to play again, don't want to jump to any conclusions here either, but would be a massive game changer for the Packers. So certainly some good news out of the practice reports that Kenny was able to practice on Thursday, which is of course a very good sign. We'll see if he can back that up, going back-to-back practices on Thursday and Friday, and then we'll see what his injury designation is. I would assume it would be questionable one way or the other, but we'll kind of see what Friday brings and kind of go from there. My main topic today is Billy Turner, and I think this is a really interesting topic because this offensive line, through two games, all five, left tackle to right tackle, have been fantastic without Billy Turner. Now, this is a good problem to have. Having somebody like Billy Turner who's, coming back from injury and is ready to play, and you haven't even needed him, has been a really great sign. But I think Green Bay has more of an interesting situation than maybe most people have been discussing, because Green Bay could go in a few different directions here with Turner coming back. They could move him to right tackle, have him start at right tackle, put Rick Wagner back on the bench. That may seem like, why would you do that? And I agree with you, but I don't think it's any secret at this point. Billy Turner was going to be the starting right tackle to start the season. It was not going to be Rick Wagner. It was not going to be Elton Jenkins. It was going to be Billy Turner at right tackle. He had held down that spot up until the injury at Lambeau Field right before the start of the season. He was going to start at right tackle. Lane Taylor was going to start at right guard. Turner goes out, Elton Jenkins gets the start, and then of course, Rick Wagner goes in there at right tackle. Rick Wagner's looked really good through two games. If I'm Green Bay, I don't want to mess with that. And now it's possible maybe that Billy Turner is better than Rick Wagner. And if they feel that way, maybe they make that change. But through two games, what more could you possibly want out of Rick Wagner's performance? I totally think that he has earned the right to start this coming Sunday against New Orleans. We'll see what Green Bay decides, but that's option number one. And then if Rick Wagner does start at right tackle and Billy Turner does not, then they've got a couple other options. Do you want to stick with Lucas Patrick, who's also been solid in back-to-back games, or do you want to put Billy Turner there? My guess is that Billy Turner goes and starts at right guard. Rick Wagner starts at right tackle. It's a good problem to have. They could go in a variety of different directions. If it's me personally, I'm kind of tempted to keep Lucas Patrick at right guard and Rick Wagner at right tackle. Until something's broken, I'm not sure I want to fix it. This offensive line has looked great, not only as a pass protecting for Aaron Rodgers, but also in the running game, especially this last game. Now, I know Minnesota's defensive line, no Danielle Hunter. They're not beat up. They just don't have the horses at defensive tackle. Yannick wasn't fully ingrained in that defense and didn't seem like he was 100% in some capacity against Green Bay. And then Detroit, Trey Flowers, good player. Deshaun Hand is solid, but it's not exactly like Detroit's front four is lighting the world on fire either. So take it with some grain of salt, but I would be hesitant to change anything at this point. So if I'm Green Bay and I'm going into Sunday's game, I'm going David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Corey Linsley, Lucas Patrick, and then Rick Wagner. Now, the other reason that I really like that option is that Billy Turner has even talked about the fact that he can play all 5 positions across the offensive line. And I love the ability to kind of train him in that regards in practice and say, give him some snaps at left tackle, at right tackle, left guard, right guard. I don't think you need to put him in at center because you have Linsley, Elton Jenkins, and Lucas Patrick, all who can, play center. And that's probably Billy's worst position. But have him work at all those other positions and be the first guy off the bench, no matter who gets hurt. You don't have to do a ton of reshuffling in that situation. If Linsley goes out, you probably move Patrick or Elton Jenkins over, probably Lucas Patrick. That's one move. Patrick goes to center, Billy Turner goes to right guard, and you're done. If Bakhtiari goes out, Billy Turner, right? If Elton Jenkins goes out, Billy Turner, or you move Lucas Patrick and put Turner at right guard. If Rick Wagner goes out, Billy Turner. I just think it makes for a much smoother transition. So if it's me, I'm starting Lucas Patrick at right guard and I'm starting Rick Wagner at right tackle. I just want to see if they can put together some consistency. Coaches always talk about riding the hot hand at running back or, various other positions. Ride the hot hand on the offensive line right now. Those 5 are working very well together. I wouldn't mess with it. Going back to last season, Billy Turner was one of my lowest graded players. To be fair to Billy Turner, he was about a average, neutral graded player up until the point where he had the injury against Detroit in Week 17. Stood in that game, had a really bad game after that point, and then Seattle and San Francisco, you could tell he was hurt, graded out really poorly in both of those games. But there were teams that started targeting Billy Turner with twists and stunts at right guard a season ago. Again, I'm just not willing to, risk the consistency that this offensive line has shown so far just to get a presumed starter back in at right guard. And I love Billy Turner. He's been on the podcast. Appreciate the guy. I think he still has a major role to play this season. This is nothing against Billy Turner. I just think I would stick with what's working. But again, if I'm a gambling man, I'm going to guess that Rick Wagner starts at right tackle, Billy Turner starts at right guard. If they play Billy Turner at right tackle for Rick Wagner, though, I think that's really playing with fire, again, just based on how Rick Wagner's looked through the first couple weeks. That does it for me. Hope you enjoyed the conversation today about Billy Turner and what the Packers are going to do with him. The next couple days, I'll probably be breaking down the Saints game a little bit more, so make sure to check that out. Andrew Merteg and Kyle Fellows on the Friday edition of the Pack-A-Day podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcast. Just one of my favorite groups to listen to. They bring the A game every single week. Those two have great chemistry together. Andrew's got a Pack-A-Day tattoo. Make sure to follow both those guys on Twitter. They're just fantastic. But make sure to check out that episode today. We'll have you covered up until kickoff with all of the late-breaking news, injury updates, etc. So make sure to check us out on the Pack-A-Day podcast and subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We're 2 days away. Packers Saints, Sunday Night Football. I can't freaking wait. Until then, go Pack Go.